Okay, day 2 of the lockdown DIY series. Again, these videos I'm making for any of you who are having some downtime right now and just need help with some common around the house DIY tasks. And in particular, maybe things you don't feel so comfortable with doing on your own or you've thought might be too difficult. Trying to help you learn how to do these things and show you that they're actually a lot easier than you may have thought, so you can save money and you can take this time when we're cooped up at home to get some of these things done. Okay, so today I'm down here in my workshop and we're going to talk about plumbing. There's a lot to go over with plumbing, but we're not going to cover everything. It would take way too long. And again, these videos are geared toward anybody who can do a simple DIY task. For anything that is going to be more difficult, you're obviously going to want to call out a professional plumber who's licensed and does this all the time and knows what they're doing. But I wanted to go over some things that you can do, especially simple repairs like any supply line or drain work. So we're not talking about plumbing an entire house, but if you have a leaking pipe or valve, something like that, there are some pretty simple ways that we can do that. So down here, we have a few of our types of supply pipes. So we have copper, and these are all 1/2-inch pipes, which is the most common pipe diameter you'll come across in residential homes. In older homes, you might come across 3/8 inch. In newer homes, sometimes you'll see 3/4. Obviously, the wider the diameter of the pipe, the more water can flow through it. So over time, those have increased, but 1/2-inch is typically what you'll see. So this is a 1/2-inch copper pipe that's been cut off in the past, and these are sections of what's called PEX tubing. So PEX is a relatively newer, it's been around a while, but it's about all you'll see installed in newer homes now, really. It's plastic, and they come color-coded, so red's hot and blue is cold. They also come in white. Now, what we have over here, though, is not a white PEX pipe, even though it looks similar. This is actually a CPVC pipe. So down here, you'll see these are waste pipes, and we have PVC, and then there's also black, which is called ABS. PVC is what you'll see most commonly, especially in our area. But CPVC is a type of supply line for water pipes. So again, copper. These two are PEX, blue cold, red hot. We also have white, which is just a universal color, and all of those are the same, by the way. You could use either one of these for your different lines, but obviously they come color-coded so you can easily identify which one's hot, which one's cold, and then PVC. So as a general rule nowadays, PEX is just a superior product when it comes to supply lines. Just as plastic pipe is superior in many ways to older cast iron pipe, which tends to corrode. Anything metal is going to corrode over time, and it's not going to be a real permanent fix. Cast iron waste pipes last oftentimes 100+ years. They're very quiet, so there are a lot of benefits to them, but it's very expensive. And it does corrode. It actually corrodes a lot from the inside, and you'll get surface corrosion on the outside of the pipe from oxidation over time. If you have an old cast iron waste stack, you've probably seen that. But the corrosion on the inside of the pipe is going to cause obstruction, and eventually it's going to rot through the pipe exterior, and you're going to have a leak, and those pipes are carrying sewage, so that's an immediate repair. So these are our different types of supply lines that you'll commonly come across now. Now, if you have an older home and you've got copper and you need to do a repair, you're typically going to want to use, as a DIY option, what's called a shark bite or a push fitting. So shark bite's the brand, but these are made by different companies now. But just like their name suggests, these fittings actually just push into place. Okay, so first we're going to go over how we cut our copper and our plastic pipes, and then how we join these to the push fitting, which is really simple. You're going to be amazed at how easy it is. So here are a couple of copper pipe cutters. This smaller cutter, and they make, again, several different models of these. Something like this is designed to be able to get in around really tight spaces, which oftentimes you're going to have to do. The pipe might be right up against a floor joist, for example. If you have more room to spare, something like this is going to give you a lot more leverage cutting around the pipe. So here's how we do that. And I'm not going to cut entirely through this pipe, but just to give you an idea, we're going to set this onto the pipe and we're going to turn here until we have a snug fit. So this is what it looks like. We're going to give this a couple of turns, and after we've done that, we're going to tighten up back here, and that's just going to plunge that blade a little deeper into the pipe. And again, we go around a couple more times, plunge deeper again, and so forth. And you can see here on the pipe how this is scored. You can see that line there. So eventually, this is going to cut through. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes when you're dealing in a tight space and you're working above your head, this can take a little longer than it normally would to get fully cut. But copper's a soft metal and it doesn't usually take all that long to get done. So that's how we use that one. Same concept here, but we're going to line the pipe up with our cutter and we're just going to go right around, and again, we can tighten this up as we go. But this tool, when you can use it, this one's going to cut quite a bit quicker than the smaller one because you do have more leverage cutting around. Okay, now these, very simple. You can use a simple cutter like this, and watch how easy this is to cut. We're just going to align this up perpendicular to the pipe, and you just barely have to squeeze, and it's done. For larger diameter pipes, you can use a bigger cutter like this, and it's going to do the same thing. But good thing is everything sits in here nice and tight. You want to keep it close to the blade, and as this cuts up, eventually, you can see here, it's going to cut completely through the pipe. Now, if you've got a larger pipe, like say for example, even this this section of PVC, I would use a miter saw to cut this. Now we're going to be doing a future video, probably in the next couple days or so, on the different types of power saws and their uses. But you're definitely going to want to use something like a miter saw to cut through this to get a nice straight, even cut with a fine-tooth blade. So that's how we cut our pipes. Now we're going to go over how to push these on. Again, just like their name suggests, these are push fittings. Now, once you get these seated fully into the pipe, you're not going to be able to get it out. They do make tools that you can put on here to push on and remove this. And they actually are reusable, but not for a permanent situation. So for testing, it's fine to reuse them, but you're not going to want to do that if this is for a permanent water line. But once you make sure that the end of your pipe is nice and even, that it's well cleaned, it's deburred, you're going to just push this right in. And now you can see I can't get that off. So that's a permanent seal there. Now over time, these push fittings do have what are called O-rings inside to create your water seal. And it's possible they can wear out. But these shark bite fittings do work really well when properly installed. And I've used them several times. I've never had a problem. I probably won't have a problem. But just so you're aware, if you were doing a more permanent installation or you're running new lines, you would crimp these. So these typically get joined at the ends within about 1/4 inch. And they have little rings that go around here, wherever the fitting is. And you use what's called a crimping tool, and it looks like a big set of pliers, but you're going to push down on that, and that will crimp this into place, and it creates a permanent connection. So that's the more permanent way of doing PEX. But these push fittings for repair jobs, like if you're going from copper to PEX, is a great option. So say that we had a hot supply line here. We're going to cut this off, again, make sure it's clean, push it right into place, and once we make sure that the end of our pipe here is also nice and even, we're going to push this in as well. So same thing, we're going to give it a nice push, test it, make sure it doesn't come out. So this, unless I remove it, is now a good long-lasting fix for a pipe. And again, we've upgraded here from copper over to PEX. So some other benefits of PEX beyond just the fact that it's not going to corrode is it has a much lower freezing point than the metal does. And it has a little more room for expansion and contraction. So You're not going to have as great of a chance of this freezing on you as you would a copper pipe, and it's more flexible. You can see how easily I can bend this, so you're not going to want to bend it a whole lot. And of course, they make different push fittings that are 90-degree elbow bends and so forth, so you can use those as needed. And they also make little mounting clips that you can nail against wood to secure your lines in place. Okay, so when you go to the hardware store and you're looking for these fittings, you just want to obviously make sure you're getting the right one. Make sure if you need a female-female, a male-male, male-female, or so forth, that you get that and that you have the right size. So it tells you right on the packaging here, so we have a 1/2-inch pipe, and that goes with our 1/2-inch lines that we just used. Now, as far as the depth of the insertion for the push fitting, you will have different depths dependent on the diameter of the pipe. A 1/2 inch technically is 15/16 of an inch. So basically an inch. So what you're going to want to do, if you're working in a tight quarter and you have to pre-cut your pipe, you're going to want to measure that off, mark it on your pipe at the end, and then insert it to make sure that you have a snug fit. And again, test that when you're done to make sure it's nice and tight. So this is just one of many other types of push fittings. So in this case, we have the push fitting on this side. This is another shark bite fitting. And then we have a threaded end over here. So this would be a male end to join to another female end. And I'm going to go over with you here a couple of different things that we have available. So you've probably heard of Teflon tape. I don't have any here with me at the moment, but it's just a very thin white tape, and it creates a water seal. So you see that a lot of times around shower arms for shower heads, areas like that. But one thing that I like to use, especially on these threaded joints, is there are a lot of different names for this, but pipe joint compound. It's typically called pipe dope, and it's a thick paste. And all you do here is you just paste this on evenly over your threads. So you might need to turn the brush a little bit as you go, but you get this on here, and you can actually use Teflon tape in combination with this to get a really nice seal. And that's typically what I do. I usually apply the dope around the threading. I get it as nice and even as I can. So this would be pretty good right here. And then I would put the Teflon tape on and we'd be in business. We can connect this. We'll have a nice permanent water seal. Now do not confuse pipe dope with plumber's putty. So plumber's putty, much thicker. This is actually a thick liquid. This has a much more solid consistency. It's like a putty, like its name suggests. So you would take this out, you roll this, and this gets applied underneath, say, a drain flange. So if you're putting a new drain into a sink or into a tub, you would apply this underneath and press it in place, and then that's going to push out excess putty around the perimeter. You would just wipe that away and you're good to go. So that's our putty. Now, for waste piping, again, we have here just PVC we're going to work with. ABS waste piping only requires glue. It does not require what's called a solvent. PVC pipes require a solvent and a glue or a cement. So I'm going to show you how to use that, because we do have the one extra step with PVC, and I want you to be aware of how to do both. So it's a good idea to wear gloves when you do this so you don't get anything on your hands. But pretty simple, really. But I'm going to give you a couple pointers to hopefully make this more helpful. So make sure, first of all, you do this in a very well ventilated area, because the smell of this is extremely strong. Okay, so we're going to dab off the end here of our brush, make sure we don't have too much dripping, and we're going to go around the end of our pipe and the inside of the connection it's going into nice and evenly. Okay, so we're going to do this, check to make sure as we go around that everything looks fine, And try and be as neat with this as you can. A lot of times we see really sloppy jobs with the purple primer. And the purpose of the primer with PVC is actually to sort of melt away at the pipe and make it more porous so that it creates an adhesive layer for the other pipe to join to. So we're gonna go ahead and set this down in place and then do our next section here. So the inside of this pipe, same thing. And again, we want to make sure we don't have too many drips in here. So once we get that applied nice and evenly, and look over it carefully, make sure it's that every area of the surface is well covered. We're going to let that sit then. Let these sit for at least 10 seconds, okay? It needs a little bit of time, but not a whole lot. Next, we're going to pull out our cement, our glue. Now, we apply our glue in the same way. Before I do this, I want to give you another quick tip, though. When you are working in an area and you're installing any waste piping, it's a good idea to dry fit everything, but not too tightly. It can be hard to get undone. And you've got to account for those little discrepancies. But you want to dry fit your pipes in place before you do this, and you're going to want to mark on your pipes where everything goes. Okay, so we're going to draw on here with a Sharpie, and let's say that when I'm done with this, I want this line to match up with this line here. All right, and when we get our glue on, and we're going to have to work quickly, and I push this in, we're going to intentionally push this in about a quarter turn away and then turn that into place. That helps to spread out the glue and create a really good permanent seal. So we're going to repeat the same process we did with the solvent with the glue. Make sure that we dab some of this off. And again, you have to work pretty quickly once we get the glue in place. So we're going to apply this fairly liberally around the end. I like to also kind of go around the edge of the pipe here. Seems to give a better connection. And again, we're going to go inside the pipe here. Make sure it's a nice even coat. So that's done. Now, very important, after we push this in and we do our quarter turn, we want to hold this in place tightly, because that solvent in the pipe is going to want to kick this pipe out a little bit, and that could compromise our seal, and we want this to be permanent. So I'm going to hold this in here with good pressure for at least 15 to 20 seconds or so. Once that is done, your seal should be good. So as long as you have applied your solvent, let it sit a bit, and then your glue evenly across the entire surface on each side, and you keep this held in, and again, mark your locations, you should be good to go. So this now is a permanent connection. Okay, one more thing I want to go over real quick. You may have seen these before, and they come in several different types. This is a cap. This is an elbow fitting. And the most common you'll see are straight, and a lot of times they have metal banding on the outside. But these are called transition couplings, or fern coes, that's a brand name, or no hubs. There are several different names for these. But these are rubber sleeves that are used to attach dissimilar pipes, or sometimes they're used in areas where you need a little bit more flexibility, because these are more flexible than obviously a rigid pipe that has no flexibility to it. Now with these, you're going to use a hex driver. You can see here the end of that screw, and you could use a flathead here, but these are just hose clamps for your ends, and you just tighten these down into place. And once these are real secure, you have a good connection between dissimilar pipes. Now by dissimilar, I mean if you're going from say PVC to cast iron, maybe you're updating your waste pipes in the house, and sewer lines have been replaced, that's all newer PVC, but you have older cast iron that's running up through the wall, then they would use a fern co or no hub fitting like this, a transition coupling, and tighten these screws down, and that's going to give you a good connection. So that's a little bit of the basics on how you can go about doing repair work. Again, plastic in general is the way to go nowadays compared to metal, whether it's supply or waste piping. Push fittings are a great DIY solution. They're not as permanent as crimping, which is what you would do with a new install. But for a repair job, if you've got old copper, you're going to PEX, a shark bite push fitting is really the way to go. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the stuff we went over in this video. I'm glad to answer any questions that you might have, and I hope this helped.